Hey guys, I am sitting here waiting on buyers. We're going to do a consultation, so I just want to jump online and answer some of your questions pretty quickly before I go into the consultation. So one of the questions I get pretty often with first-time home buyers is how much is the down payment going to be? So I want to address that first. So with down payments, that will really depend on which type of loan you get for buying a home. One of the more common ones for first-time home buyers is the FHA loan, which is 3.5 down. Now, besides the down payment, you also have closing costs, right? So you need to come up with your down payment plus your closing cost. And you can get with your lender or your local real estate agent, and they can explain to you what the closing costs are going to be roughly, and with that, how much is your down payment going to be on your home. So that was the FHA. So it's 3.5% down for the FHA loan. Another loan that you can get is a conventional. A lot of people think that with a conventional loan, you have to put 20% down. Now you can certainly do that. You can put 10%, 20%. The more you put down, obviously, the better terms you're going to have, the lower your monthly payment, etc. But what they don't know is that with the conventional, they have a loan program with that you can just put 5% down, which is a great option for people who don't want the FHA loan, but still want to get in a house with little money down. So the 5% conventional loan is a great option for many people. Your credit score has to be a little bit higher than with a typical FHA, but again, get with your local lender and they can go over all the guidelines for that. So I have some people are joining right now. Just let me know if you have any real estate questions. Right now, we are answering down payment, loans, how much does it take to get into a house. So we've covered FHA, 3.5% down, conventional 20% down, and conventional 5% down. Now that doesn't include the closing costs, which can typically vary, but are generally about 2 to 3% of the purchase price of the home. Another question I get pretty frequently with first-time home buyers is how much money do I need besides the down payment and the closing costs? Like, what do I need right now when I start looking at houses? And one of the things that people don't really understand, especially if they're first-time home buyers, is that you do need a little bit of money up front whenever you put an offer on a house. So for example, let's say you're looking at houses with your real estate agent and you find one that you just absolutely love, right? Well, in order to put in a contract or an offer for the seller to even consider, you will need what's called earnest money. And what that is basically like a deposit. It's showing the seller you have intentions on purchasing this property and that you have money in order to do so. And typically what we see with the earnest money, now it's negotiable. You don't have to put a certain amount down. You can negotiate that between you and the seller. However, what we typically see is about 1% of the sale price. So let's say you're looking at a $200,000 home. The earnest money in that situation would be $2,000. And that is deposited and cashed right away. So you need to have that money available in your account as soon as you put the offer down. So that's the earnest money. Typically that's protected as long as you meet the requirements on the contract, and your agent can go over what that is and what would put that earnest money in jeopardy. The other amount that you'll need when you put in an offer on a home is the option period money. So what that is a small fee that you pay directly to the seller, basically to take their home off the market and to give you the option to back out of the contract for any reason. Now this is important. So the option fee is typically maybe $100 or so for a smaller home. It can be much more if you're, purchasing like a $500,000 home, for example. Now this fee is also negotiable between you and the seller as well, and your agent can walk you through what would be appropriate in your situation. So what the option fee does is allows you to back out of the contract for whatever reason, and it gives you a option period for you being able to back out of the contract. For example, let's say I put $100 option on a $200,000 house for 7 days. What that means is during those 7 days, I can back out of the contract for any reason. Maybe I changed my mind, maybe I did an inspection and the house is falling apart, or anything. Or maybe I found a different house that I like better. Any kind of reason for you to back out. Now, typically during this option period, it is highly recommended that you do an inspection on the home to see, what's going on with it. Make sure your investment is going to be solid. You don't want to get into a house that is going to be falling apart unless you plan to do rehabs on it. So the option period can be as little as 0. You can just completely forego an option, or I've seen some go up to 14 days for some complicated properties. For example, properties that need additional inspections, or maybe they're just a little bit more unique. Maybe it's a multifamily or one that has acreage or things like that. Then we'll see 10, 14-day option periods. So I have a couple more people joining. Just want to pause right here and see, do you have any questions so far, real estate related or anything really? We're talking about down payments, earnest money, option money, what it takes to get into a house as far as cash. Any questions? Love to answer them. Right now, I'll give you a minute pause to think of something. Looks like we're quiet today. We need coffee? Yeah. I need coffee. That's why we're outside of Starbucks for the consultation. Meeting some buyers here. I believe they're first-time home buyers. They have a lot of questions around down payment and different things like that. The process, what it takes to get into a home. So we'll be having coffee and talking about all of that. Great. More people are joining. Welcome. We're just sitting here right before my consultation with some first-time home buyers in Starbucks. We're out at Beltway 8 and I-10, so the city center area. So if you're in the area, stop by after the consultation. We're just answering questions on what does it take to get into a home, what's negotiable, what's not, down payment, earnest money, option fee, duration, things like that. Any questions you have, let me know and I'll go ahead and answer them. I only have a couple more minutes before I have to head inside and have some coffee with the buyers. So let's see. Any questions now? So just a quick recap for the people that just recently joined. We talked about down payment. Now that depends on your loan. You have the FHA for 3.5% down. You have the conventional 20% down, 10% down. You also have as little as 5% down with the conventional, which is pretty new. A lot of people love that option. It's a less expensive loan. So I don't know, some of you may have had loans before on homes, and the FHA can be pretty costly as far as all the fees that are involved. But it's a great option for those wanting to get in with little down, which is 3.5%. Besides the down payment, you also need your closing cost, and that could be about 2 to 3% of the purchase price. Then you need your earnest money and the option period money. Now, another question I get pretty often is, are there any ways to get in with 0% down? Now, currently, what we're seeing in the market right now, that's not a common thing. I have been seeing lenders give credits towards your closing costs, so that's one thing. As far as 0% down, that pretty much went away back around right before the housing crash, right? So, but we are seeing lender credits. We are seeing agents negotiate closing costs being paid by the seller in some situations. So that's an option. Now that also depends on your loan, because they have different requirements on what percentage the seller can pay for your closing costs, right? So some of them, they can pay up to 6% of your loan closing costs, and some of them are not that high. We do have the VA loan, which is pretty good for all you military and veterans out there. It's a great way to get into a home. I believe that one is 100% financed. You'll have to check with your lender, and that's a great option to get into a home. So definitely check with your lender. And also, it depends on the home. It has to be in great condition most cases. Generally, that's not something that you want to do a rehab or one that needs a lot of work. But it's a great option for our veterans. Great. Welcome everyone that's joining. We're talking about real estate Q&A. So if you have any questions, let me know. I have only one more minute before I need to go into my consultation with buyers, their first-time home buyers. So we're answering some of those type of questions, but feel free to ask anything. So we're answering down payment, closing costs, different types of loans. Also, there are grants that are available for first-time home buyers, as well as teachers, things like that. There's a lot of grants to help pay for your closing costs or your down payment. There are some lenders that are very familiar with those grants, and if you need a list of lenders that do those type of grants, just let me know. Send me a message, and I'll feel free to I'll send it over to you via email. Some of those lenders that are very familiar with the grants. Any questions right now so far? Okay, looks like I'm gonna have to go, so hurry, type it down below real quick if you have a question regarding real estate in general, or different types of loans, or the process, anything. What's hot? What area is hot? That's a secret. I'll tell you, but you gotta ask. We have 2 pretty hot areas going on right now in Houston. So, but it looks like I have to go. So you're gonna have to catch me on the next real estate Q&A. Thank you for joining, everyone, and talk to you soon. Bye.